Big Cheek Andy. It's going to be a good fight. He's a good fighter. He throws counter punches. He goes forward. He has a lot of heart, and I think he should win by knockout.
Those are the words and the prediction of Eddie Reynoso as he predicts that Andy, the Destroyer Ruiz, will destroy Deontay Wilder by knockout. He feels that he has fast hands. He feels that he's a good counterpuncher. And for that reason, he will knock out Deontay Wilder and let me counterpunch. I think Eddie has spent enough time with Andy Ruiz. I've heard him once call Andy Ruiz lazy, along with Canelo. We've seen him transform, from the big Andy Ruiz until the middle-size or mid-size Andy Ruiz. And it really didn't do him too much justice. I think he was weaker being smaller. And it takes quite a bit of time to gain your strength back because your fluid levels change once you start losing weight because your body has to adapt to that weight, right? So he's seen that. And surprisingly, he does pick Andy Ruiz. I'm surprised because, Andy left and went to Dan Goosen, so he's no longer with the Reynosos, around Canelo and all that. So I think there was a little Cold War beef at the time. But nonetheless, he picks Andy. And it just shows you, the bias is real. The favoritism is real. You know what I mean? Most fighters, birds from the feather flock together. And I think this is an idea of that. Now, is what Eddie Reynoso saying, is it true? Well, yeah, he does have fast hands, and he is a pretty good counterpuncher. It made you think of, the first fight with Anthony Joshua, right? That roll and, counter with the left hook. It was selectively thrown, and it was the punch from the guns, right? So, as you guys can see. So, he has a point with that, but I just don't see Wilder fighting him on the inside. I don't see what Reynoso sees. I see that Reynoso is picking Andy, maybe based on something else, but I think hand speed and counterpunching, I don't think that's good enough because Luis Ortiz was a good counterpuncher too, even though he was older. And he gave him problems, but I don't see Andy having the same problems simply because he's shorter, he's smaller. And I think Wilder is probably an inch taller than Joshua. And when Joshua decided to box, that's all she wrote. Andy really didn't do too much. If you don't inflict or provoke a firefight in a boxing match with Andy, I give Andy slim to none chance. But I can tell you this. I mean, he was able to take Luis Ortiz's punch. But what if Wilder hits him with that right hand? What will happen? I think that'll be terrifying. And I think that would really scare a lot of boxers off if Wilder hit Andy Ruiz with a similar punch or a similar performance he did with Helenius, which I don't think that would happen. But let's say Andy can take that punch. Well, the question you ask yourself, how many times can he take it? Especially coming from long range. It's like having a short range pistol, having a 9mm, in a firefight with somebody that's a sniper from far range. You're doomed. That's what I see that fight. That's all I really saying. So I just think that Wilder's too tall and he will fight tall, and Andy can't handle that based on experience. I know he was overweight. I don't really think anything would change because I remember the first 2 rounds in the Anthony Joshua fight, and Anthony was able to dash in and dash out until Anthony decided, hey, let me start a fight with this guy and let me see if he can take my punch. And he didn't take too many well, but he took the other ones damn well after he knocked him down. So, that's my counter prediction on Eddie Reynoso's prediction that Andy Ruiz would knock out Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder if they fight. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.